We'd like to welcome you to another day of our podcast, Together on a Journey of Hope. Today I'm with Bishop Kulick and Kate Parkinson. My name's Vincent Reilly, and we're here celebrating the Great Jubilee in Rome. And yesterday we had the opportunity to enter the Baptistery of St. John Lateran. And that reminds us of all of the people back home who are our elect and are preparing for baptism at the Easter Vigil. And it was quite powerful to be in the atria outside where they would have received catechetical instruction. Bishop, what was it like to be able to celebrate Mass there and then view the baptistry and see that process that would have been undertaken for many, many years?
It was a special moment of grace and a privilege to be there. And of course, St. John Lateran is the Pope's cathedral. It's the see of the Bishop of Rome. And so we got to see his cathedra as well as to be in that beautiful church. And when you think about all of the history, the ancient apostolic history of that beautiful basilica, and also for all of us to be able to partake of being there together, but also recognizing so many, as you said, the elect and the candidates that are on their journey. It really gave you a sense of the church in every time and every age, together united on one pilgrimage, one journey of faith together.
Well, and what I couldn't help but think what was so powerful for me was that at home all the time, every single Sunday, we do these breaking open the word sessions where our elect and our candidates are sent forth after the liturgy of the word to break open the word. And we got to see where that first started, the place, the atrium of St. John Lateran, where they would go for that catechesis. And what was so beautiful was to learn that they would go into that atrium and the doors would be shut during that entire time. And only at the Easter Vigil would those doors be opened for the first time into the baptistry, where there's literally rushing water in this font that they would walk down into and be purified and be brought into the family of God. And then for the very first time, the doors to the church would be open to them and they would be able to participate fully in the Eucharist and the full life of the church. And so it was beautiful to see that, knowing how many of our people at home are going through that same process right now, just like we've done for 17, 18, 1900 years.
And then we had an Easter Vigil procession of sorts, full with holy water, which Romans call rain, into the cathedral, where we went through the first holy door. And it was quite powerful for our pilgrims to be able to go through that first holy door. Bishop Kate, did you notice any special moments as our pilgrims had that opportunity?
Well, you know, as you were saying, I couldn't help but think that in the Easter Vigil and even during the Easter season, we're sprinkled with the new holy water that's blessed at the Vigil. And of course, that reminds all of us of our baptism and our renewal of our baptismal promises. And of course, it was lightly misting. And so we, in a sense, were sprinkled and then walked through that door. I had the great privilege and honor of leading our pilgrim group through that door, holding our pilgrimage cross. And for me, it was a powerful moment of thinking how the cross of Christ leads us. We go forth, but to have the privilege of holding that cross and leading the people with that cross as the bishop of the diocese was a very profound moment that reminded me of unity in and through Christ the head, and also the role of the shepherd.
For me, passing through the holy doors was so powerful because it doesn't seem like it should be something special. You're just walking through doors, but there is a grace involved, and I felt that myself. I definitely, teared up, had that moment of grace. And the pilgrims who walked through with me also immediately said, wow, there was something special here. Something happened. And so to be here in this moment of history and really get to participate in that, walk through those holy doors. And then what was especially special for me was at the moment, I was the one carrying the Book of Intentions. And so to be carrying the prayers and the intentions of all of those in Greensburg was just a real privilege and an incredible moment to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you can't have Easter without Good Friday. And so we had the opportunity to do the sacred stairs right across from St. John Lateran. And again, that was a powerful experience where we actually took the pilgrimage cross up the stairs in order to bring you with us. And we touched the cross to the place where Jesus bled 3 times on those stairs as he was going up to be judged by Pilate. Bishop, you actually went up the stairs on your knees.
I did. And again, those stairs were brought from Jerusalem to Rome, so they're there. And of course, the original marble steps are covered with a wooden cover to protect them. But also, it was amazing to me because so many people climb those steps throughout a day, a month, a year, that there are divots in the wooden floor that are worn simply from the pressure of thousands upon thousands of knees going up those steps. And to me, it was a great way of offering some self-mortification, going up all of those steps on your knees. It was, an act of sacrifice, but it was a powerful, powerful moment. And what I really took from that was not only sometimes some of that self-mortification on the knees, but going up and offering a prayer on each step as is prescribed. But for me, it was feeling with my knees those divots and realizing that I was just part of one small journey that others had done. And while probably not myself making a mark in those steps, together, all of the people have made their impression into the steps and have united themselves to the blood of Christ.
So much so that they had to redo the steps in 2019. And when they did that, they realized that underneath the marble steps, the lowest level of those steps, they actually found that the rock was from first century Jerusalem. They dated it and placed it by geologists. And so we're very confident that those were the actual steps that Jesus went up for his condemnation and eventual crucifixion. So we were able to then go to Santa Croce, which is where St. Helena's palace was, who brought back the holy steps and also brought back the true cross. And we were able to see those relics and their reliquaries. And I was just impressed with the size of the piece of the cross that they had. And then also the piece which had Jesus' name on it that Pilate had inscribed on the cross. What was it like, Kate, to get so close to those relics and to see the actual instruments that were brought back by St. Helena?
It was an incredibly powerful moment. Like Vincent said, the piece of the cross is actually, 2 shards of wood in the shape of the cross. And there's a few thorns from the crown of thorns. And these aren't these little thorns that we think of on a rose bush. These are 2-3 inches that would have dug into Christ's head. And a nail that they think may have been one of the nails that pierced his hands. And to be so close to the instruments of torture through which we were redeemed, it was just an incredibly uplifting moment. And then what was really a blessing was that right there outside of those relics, we got to, on a Friday in Lent, celebrate the Stations of the Cross. We got to walk that passion. Bishop led us through these beautiful stations that were actually written for this pilgrimage, and we call them the Hope Stations, the Pilgrimage of Hope Stations, where they show and really enlighten how Christ's passion and death is the source of all of our hope.
Yeah, and it was a very quick scene, wasn't it, in there? And so you'll be able to actually view those stations next week. But we were in between pilgrims, we were in between other people, and having to go back and forth between the stations because they were in quite a small space, but yet a sacred space. And I couldn't help but think of the holy stairs again because it was a elevated space that we had to keep going up and down to actually do the stations. But Bishop, perhaps you have some words about the stations and
Well, it was magnificent to be able to pray those stations. And as you said, there was flows of pilgrims coming through. And while they were literally moving from one place to another, you could see in that moment they were really joining us, in a sense, in that beautiful prayer. So again, I keep saying it, but it's so true. The universality of the church is so magnificently exemplified. There is nowhere that you go that you don't see people from not only other nations, but how many times we find people from the United States and from southwestern Pennsylvania that are here. And it really is just wonderful to see that universality. But you know, one of the other things I enjoyed in looking at the relics was the finger of St. Thomas. I love that, of course, because it's on Easter night, the second week of Easter, I should say, the second time Jesus comes to the apostles. And of course, Thomas had said, I won't believe unless I put my finger. And to me, it was really about, that became a relic not only of the Passion, but charismatically, it becomes, how do you profess not only your belief in the Passion, but the resurrection? And so the finger symbolizes that instrument of faith, seeing and then believing.
So as we're continuing in our journey, connecting with that bedrock of faith and joining in the universality of the church, we want to invite you to continue to submitting your prayer intentions at petitions@dioceseofgreensburg.org. We also ask you to submit your questions that you may have about our pilgrimage, the things we see, or even questions of faith. Our goal of doing this and bringing this to you each day is in order to invite you to journey with us. And I know we will continue to pray for you, and we ask you to continue to pray for us as we continue through the various holy doors and really celebrate this Jubilee together on a journey of hope.